Hey, honey,
Yes, Barry?
let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Fascina el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin mi naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I'm your host, Barry Kessler, and I'm just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, of course. That music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez. Now, Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants. Those are the Lapa Lapa, Puerto Vallarta's oldest restaurant on the famous Los Muertos beach, and the El Dorado Restaurant Beach Club right next door. So you can enjoy that fantastic view of the Los Muertos Pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors, or during the day in its grand splendor, for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week, we are going to go to the market. Yep, it's the Friday market over, it's the Marsol market, they call it, it's aptly named, the lobby of the Hotel Marsol, right on Playa Los Muertos. But before we get to that, let's see what's happening this week in Puerto Vallarta, the 20th of February, 2019. Jay Victor from the Gecko band is doing a pretty cool thing with his fellow geckos and some other folks who are helping out too. Let's read about it. It's actually called Rock and Roll Changing Lives, and they have an event coming up this Monday, February the 24th. And let's read from the Facebook post. It says, it shows a picture of a young, happy-looking mom with a cute little boy in her arms, and it reads, "Please share and spread the voice. This is Juanito, a local kid who lives in Bucerias. Juanito has been sick basically since he was born. His immune system is very weak. He constantly gets high fever and coughs all the time. He really needs to get medical assistance, including lab tests that his mother cannot afford. Juanito will be the first kid of many that we will help, along with Grupo Diagnostique, who will donate some much-needed lab tests. Hand-to-Hand Brigada de Mano en Mano PV Bucerias will help with medical assistance and other complementary expenses. And the American English Tree PV will donate English scholarships so kids, young people, and adults that can't afford private lessons can learn English. All of this can be possible with your help. If you're in town, you guys, don't miss this event. It's Monday, February the 25th at the El Rigo Barbecue, 2 o'clock until 6 p.m. Donations are 200 pesos. There's going to be a raffle. There's going to be auctions, live music by the Gecko Band, of course, great food, drinks, and a lot of fun. So you can't miss the fun. For tickets, contact Che Victor. I have all of his information in the show notes for this episode. So check it out and help the Gecko Band, you guys, and help rock and roll changing lives. Help them change some lives. It's a great idea. So let's see if they can help Juanito, and let's see if you guys can come to Paradise and help them help other kids as well. Go and have some fun at the concert over at Rio Barbecue. Drop a couple hundred pesos for the kids and have some fun. Okay. Spring break is fast approaching, but according to an article in the Vallarta Daily News, there are some people that are skipping vacation in Paradise. Can you believe that? I don't believe that for 1 minute, but let's read it anyway. It says, cancellation of spring breakers in Puerto Vallarta leaves huge financial losses. The wave of violence in Jalisco and comments by Donald Trump against Mexico are some reasons why spring breakers canceled the reservations in Puerto Vallarta, which will give losses of close to 400 million pesos in economic output, according to the vice president of the National Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Services in Puerto Vallarta, Martin Rodriguez Felix. He says between 10,000 and 13,000 cancellations by American students who planned to come for the Easter holiday has happened. Puerto Vallarta is within a list of 10 cities with less perception of insecurity in the country, according to data from the National Institute of Statistics and Geography Travel Alerts issued by the U.S. Treasury Department. But they say that problems with public transport, with operations against Uber, robbery of tourists, and abuses of tour operators affected the cancellations. The so-called spring break is a vacation that students in the United States and in Canada take during the spring. Large part of them travel to Mexican beaches to have fun, and their average spending is around 30,000 pesos per person, which calculates to about $1,500 per person. So I have a link to that article in the show notes for this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I find it very interesting. I was not aware that first of all, that spring breakers were even afraid of anything, for that matter, but coming to Puerto Vallarta? Really? I've been heard, we talked about the Uber problems. By the way, Uber is still running. The governor hasn't come back to haunt us just yet, but it's coming, I'm sure. But anyway, I hadn't heard anything about robberies. I hadn't heard anything about tourists being robbed or tour operators being abused. But anyway, I looked around. I looked for articles on the interwebs, but to no avail. There was really nothing that showed anything other than what we already know about Uber. Anyway, so I have to tell you, if you are thinking about coming to Puerto Vallarta and you're afraid because Donald Trump said something or whatever, don't worry about it. Come on down. It's safe. Have a great time, really. But if, it means that fewer of you spring breakers aren't there, maybe it'll be quieter. I don't know. Anyway, I don't believe the article, but it's in the show notes, so check it out if you want. I don't know if you remember or recall, we talk a little bit about geography. There is a river that runs past the Vallarta Botanical Garden and forms a canyon that goes all the way down to Boca de Tomatlan. And it's the Rio Horcones. And I saw this article that was written by our friend Neil Gorlowski, Neil from the Vallarta Botanical Garden. And this was posted in the Vallarta Tribune. It's dated February 4th, 2019. And it reads, "Destruction of the Rio Los Horcones Canyon narrowly averted for now." Got your attention? Here we go. We in Jalisco are at a critical moment. The fragile ecologic equilibrium of the Rio Los Horcones Canyon hangs in the balance, threatening not only native wildlife, but also our regional economy and culture that are intertwined with the nature and this natural treasure. Collective action is needed to ensure the survival of this ecosystem. For the past several months, the staff of the Vallarta Botanical Garden and our neighbors in the ejidos of Las Juntas y Veranos, Emiliano Zapata, and Boca de Tomatlan have observed an unprecedented deforestation of the wild and scenic Rio Los Horcones Canyon, accompanied by large-scale bulldozing. What we saw was beyond any of the routine highway maintenance that happens every year, and we wondered what was coming down the pike. no one seemed to know, and our communities were angered not to be consulted. On Thursday, January the 17th, the destruction of the canyon was scaled up with the arrival of a fleet of demolition vehicles and blasting equipment. Workers immediately began carving into the river canyon with alarming speed and efficiency. They informed us that they were making an ecologically friendly dam. They also assured us very politely that they had all of their permits to do so and that everyone would benefit from their actions. In light of the destruction we saw, we found their words to be unconvincing. Upon sharing this news with our neighbors and our friends throughout Jalisco and beyond, a barrage of official complaints were filed with Profepa, Mexico's Ministry Secretariat of the Environment and Natural Resources. On Tuesday, January the 22nd, the garden hosted a meeting with community members from Las Juntas y Los Verranos, along with Mario Topete Cortez, Ejido President of Boca de Tomatlan y Mismaloya, and Jose Ayala, a representative of Grupo Hidrogenerator de Occidente, the company that was carrying out the demolition. Jose Ayala stated the alleged specifications of the project, which included a total dam of the Rio Los Horcones, approximately 300 meters downstream of Chico's Paradise, the diversion of the river by way of kilometers of above-ground steel pipeline, and a power plant in the community of El Polvorín in Boca de Tomatlan. From our estimations, this would leave the river completely dry for the majority of the year, except during the rainy season, diverting every last drop of water into the tubing. When asked for architectural plans of the project detailing the exact placements and dimensions, Ayala stated that as a private company, Grupo Hidrogenerator de Occidente is not required to demonstrate such plans. He then went on to describe the project as a harness of a renewable resource that would provide much-needed power. Ayala never identified the private company that would own and run the concession. When asked to show their permits and evidence of their environmental impact studies, Ayala said that he's not required to do so. He only produced a list of alleged permits that supposedly were filed with local and federal agencies. This list notably failed to include environmental and social impact studies. Ayala also wouldn't indicate if the water itself would become privately owned by the dam owner and then later made available by sale and or pave the way for further change of land use. Ayala told community members that they should be grateful to have a company in their area that really cares for the environment and is working on their behalf. Reporters who attended the meeting quickly began spreading the news throughout Puerto Vallarta and beyond. Photos and videos of the damage started circulating on social media, and officials of municipal, state, and federal agencies were appealed upon to stop the project. On Thursday, January the 24th, federal agencies of Profepa, assigned to the state of Jalisco, inspected the destruction and rapidly ordered the operations to cease and desist, at least until further investigations are completed. Local community members and environmentalists all over are applauding this win, but we are deeply concerned about the irreversible destruction of the past several months that intensified rapidly in the weeks preceding January 24th, and we're even more concerned about the future of this river canyon. And you can do more by getting in touch with Neil and with the folks over at the garden and find out what you can do to help them preserve the river canyon. Wow, what an incredible story. It's so incredible that they found what was going on and were able to stop it before things got really, really, really bad. Wow. All right, we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll let you know how things progress as time goes by. And what do you know? Look at here. Recreational pot legal in Mexico? Could it be? The first chamber of the Supreme Court reported that there is jurisprudence for all judges to grant amparos to those who require it for the recreational use of marijuana. The resolution will be published February 22nd. The recreational use of marijuana in Mexico is one step away from being achieved. Once the ruling is published in the Judicial Weekly, all the federal judges of the country will be obliged to grant amparos to the persons who request them to consume marijuana in a legal manner. And like I said, that should happen on February the 22nd. And it goes on to say here, it is expected that on February 22nd, the judicial text will be published in the Judicial Weekly of the Federation so that it is communicated to the judges of the country that must grant without delay the respective protections to any citizen that requires the permission to freely plant, harvest, transport, and smoke without commercial purposes and without affecting third parties. So I guess you're not supposed to smoke like in front of your mom or something. I don't know. Anyway, it says here that this opens the door for anyone to start their own process and then seek out protection before a judge. Recall that case law does not bind any other authority other than those of the judiciary. So neither the police nor the Ministry of Health are obliged to recognize this right until the amparo is delivered. In other words, until you're protected, you still run the risk of being arrested for possession of cannabis. Okay. Well, false alarm. Okay, you guys, put away your joint, put away the bong. You can't do it. Not yet. Not yet. False alarm. So last week we were talking a little bit about the propane shortages in Puerto Vallarta. We talked a little bit about gasoline shortages in Mexico. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on in Mexico and why it is important. You know, Mexico has a publicly owned company. It's called Pemex. And Pemex has been losing gasoline, millions of gallons of gasoline, due to fuel theft over the years, for many, many, many years. In fact, last year, 600 million gallons of fuel were stolen. 9,000 incidents of fuel theft occurred over these 9,000 kilometers of pipelines that weave throughout the country. These pipelines go from refineries to other places in the country, and it seems that fuel theft, like I said, is nothing new. In fact, it's been going on for quite some time. It started very small, but little by little, well, because it's a publicly held company, and, you know, what the heck, they're just, you know, stealing from, you know, ourselves. You know, this actually grew, and year by year, this problem has grown. And there are actually some communities that have just grown and thrive on the theft of fuel. There are fuel thieves. They are known as huachicaleros, and huachicaleros or picadores de ductos, which are pipeline picadores, guys that are cowboys of the pipelines. They locate these pipelines, which are pretty easy to locate, by the way, because they're marked. They're marked by Pemex with these little signs that say, "Don't dig here." The signs should say, "Go ahead and dig here because you're going to find a pipeline full of fuel." So they bury these things probably about a meter or so under the ground, so they're easy to get to. And these huachicaleros, they come up there and they have lookouts, and then they weld a big, they weld a nipple to the outside of this pipeline, and then they put these a steel carbon valve on top of it, and then they pierce the pipeline, which, of course, fuel goes shooting up in the air, and they immediately attach a hose, and they start filling up tanker trucks. Each pipeline tap usually yields between 30,000 liters per truck, and there's usually about 2 trucks. And these thieves, or these huachicoleros, collect about 5,000 pesos for every job they do, which is about $260. The tanker drivers earn between 500 to 1,000 pesos for every load that they transport. The cartels that hire the huachicoleros, they turn around and they sell the fuel for as little as 10 pesos a liter. 3 of the pesos go to the landowner where the pipeline was perforated. 3 pesos go to the security expenses for the watchouts for the huachicoleros. And the remaining 4 pesos go for profit to the thieves or the cartels. The cartels have gotten pretty good at doing this. They got in the action because, as I earlier stated, drugs, marijuana, they're a little bit, they're harder to do business with nowadays. So they got something else, and the new thing is fuel, and it's oil. So like people like the new generation of Jalisco cartel, among others, are involved in fuel stealing. They sell it back on the black market, like they say. They force other gas stations to buy their fuel, and they extort them to sell it so that they can earn the money, and it's trouble. They store this gas in haciendas. They store it alongside in supermarkets, people's barns. It's amazing. There's gas everywhere, except it seems at the gas stations. Anyway, then the reason that there isn't gas at the gas stations is because the Mexican President Obrador has been trying to curb the theft by stopping the pumping of the fuel through these pipelines, and instead by delivering the fuel in tanker trucks. And unfortunately, what that has caused is widespread shortages throughout Mexico because the tanker trucks just cannot supply the fuel fast enough. And so it's just a mess. I don't know if you've heard about an awful incident that happened last month in the state of Hidalgo, a little town. One of these fuel lines was ruptured by one of these picadors, and there was a spout of gasoline, a geyser, which was shooting up 70 feet in the air. And I got a video of this, you guys. And it was like a geyser of fuel shooting up in the air. And then you just got to see these people into the town were bringing these empty Galifon containers to fill them up with the fuel that was just shooting up into the air. And it must have smelled awful, right? You could just see these people were just taking, almost like they were taking a bath or a shower in this fuel, and you could tell what was going to happen, and it did. A couple hours later, something set that thing ablaze, and 79 plus people were killed. It just caught on fire. Unfreaking believable. It's awful. Anyway, you can see that this gasoline shortage is basically caused by a number of things. One thing is for sure, the fact that this is a publicly held company, Pemex, made matters even worse. If it was private, my guess is that the corruption would not have been so widespread. So unfortunately, actually, the corruption doesn't just start with the narcos. It's regular people, goes all the way to the top. Not only all the way to the top of narcos, but the people that were in charge in Pemex. Actually, some people have been arrested and are being investigated in this corruption as well. So it's pretty crazy. Pemex is losing billions and billions of dollars, and Mexico is going further and further into debt because of it. And the oil company itself is operating at only 40% of its true capacity. Oil theft is abounding. It's not a great combination, I'm afraid. So we'll have to just keep our eyes open and report back as soon as we have other information for you. So anyway, let's get back into a better mood, shall we? Let's go shopping. When you're standing on the Los Muertos Pier and you look back at the shore, you're going to see a big building rises up behind Cuatecicuetes, and that building is the Hotel Marsol. The Marsol is a very Mexican-style hotel. It is in a prime location, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the place and hear a little bit more about it from the proprietor that I am going to interview. He's sitting at the front desk over in the lobby of the hotel. But in the lobby itself, you're going to find that there is a marketplace. It goes on every Friday morning from 9:30 in the morning until 1:30 in the afternoon. And it's not a huge marketplace with lots of exhibitors like the traveling market that goes all around town. It has a lot of the same elements. It's just smaller. And it's more of an intimate gathering of people. The people are mostly expats, but there's certainly a lot of locals. There's some nationals as well. There is a free entry, so you are greeted by a lovely music when you enter. There's a guitarist playing and singing. And when I was there, I recorded a sampling of some of the vendors in the market so that you can listen to them and you can hear their stories. I love going to these places because you get to meet a lot of people in a very tight situation. You can do a lot of interviews all at once, and I love it. And so I'm going to play all these interviews in succession for you without stopping, and then I will fill in at the end. So without any further ado, let's go right now to the lobby of the Marsol Hotel, right there at the Los Muertos Pier, just about right at the beach, right next to our Cuatecicuetes. And let's visit the Friday Marsol Market. Amigo, what is your name?
My name is Francisco.
Francisco, tell us what you are selling here today.
Well, this is, I have cigars, handmade cigars, and I also have baskets made out of pine needles.
Okay, now you're from San Sebastián, right?
San Sebastián del Oeste, yes.
Were you born there?
No, I wasn't born there. I was born in a small town south from Puerto Vallarta. It's called Tomatlan. But I live in San Sebastián del Oeste now.
That's a great place to live. So what are these baskets? They're very intricate. How are they made?
Well, we only use needles that we pick up in the mountains, made out of pine, Ponderosa pine, yes, and we use thread to make the baskets. And the baskets can be used for different things. You can use them for bread, fruit, tortillas, lots of use for it.
How do you clean a basket like that?
Well, to clean them up, we just rinse it with cold running water and a brush, and that's it.
And that's it. They won't affect those pine needles.
No, you cannot use soap because soap will break the natural formula of the oil, of the natural oil, and then they won't be good.
So these are all made up in San Sebastián del Oeste?
Yes, the ones I have right here is made in San Sebastián. But in Mexico, in our country, we make different baskets in different places. The Tarahumaras in Chihuahua, they make them. Also in Michoacán, where there is pine, you're going to find this kind of baskets.
It's very interesting, and they're really pretty. Tell me a little bit about the cigars. That caught my attention when I saw this handmade cigars. Tell me about that.
Well, the cigars, we make them by hand. We don't use machines. We make them with the whole leaf, which is called lawn filler. We don't use chopped tobacco. And the tobacco that we use, it's from Veracruz. Veracruz is southeast in the Gulf of Mexico. And we also use local tobacco from Nayarit.
Okay, and it makes a good combination and a good smoke, I imagine.
Yeah, it is a really nice and smooth cigar. It's not harsh, it's not strong, and but the most important is locally made.
So when you are not selling these at the Marsol market here, where do you find them?
You can find us in the different markets, all the way from Puerto Vallarta up to La Peñita, which is north of Puerto Vallarta in Nayarit State.
Okay, so you're on that market tour. You're doing the bay.
Yeah, we do different markets every day. We go different places. Like I say, from La Peñita, Guayabitos, La Cruz, Nuevo Vallarta, and here in Marsol.
Excellent. Francisco, thank you so much for talking with me. And I love your baskets. I'll get some pictures and we'll put them in the show notes. Thanks again.
Muchas gracias a usted.
Hey, Bill. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Tell me, where are you guys from? What was your path that led you over to Puerto Vallarta?
Well, we're originally from Seattle, and Susie is from Palo Alto, and she moved up to Seattle about 15 years ago. And we met there, and we've always loved Mexico. I've been coming here for 25 years, and Susie's probably 20 years. And so our love of Mexico and the both of us loving it, we started coming here a lot, and each vacation got a little longer and a little longer. And pretty soon we just said, why are we going home? So we packed up all of our stuff and moved 4 years ago.
Wow, so you did, okay. You did the thing, right? You sell everything and moved?
Yep. We sold our house in Tacoma, Washington, and had a big garage sale and got rid of most of our stuff and went south.
Wow. All right. A dream for many people who listen to this show. So you landed here. You needed to keep busy. You both are very young people. So what are you doing? What are you doing to keep busy?
Well, thank you for the compliment. We're not so young. We originally got here and we were doing caretaking for a villa, and we did that for about a year and a half, and then we decided we wanted to have our own home and be more carefree, and so we rented a place. And busy is not trying to stay busy is not hard here. Retirement is busier than our working days were. And part of our passion was that we love to walk the beaches and we love to pick up sea glasses and things on the beach. And that hobby turned into my wife having bowls and bowls and bowls of sea glass. And we decided that we should do something creative with these things that we're finding, these magical pieces of glass on the beach. And that's how we evolved into this past year.
So you are doing wire wrapping around these pieces of sea glass and making jewelry.
Correct. We do wire wrapping. We also drill them and put jump rings through them and other ways of doing them. But wire wrapping is probably the most predominant. We do earrings, necklaces, bracelets.
And your material for your wire, do you get that locally or do you have to import it?
We can get some of it locally, but we do import some of it. It just depends on what type of wire it is. That's kind of the challenges here, is finding all the supplies we need. And as it's evolved, as we've done it, we've found more and more outlets here. We go to Guadalajara quite a bit and buy things there and bring them back to put jewelry together.
It makes you feel better if you're using a made in Mexico product if you're going to be selling it in Mexico, so why not, right?
Absolutely, and we try to do that as much as we possibly can. There's just some things that we just can't get here.
Oh yeah, well, spring rings, I'm sure, and stuff like that are really difficult to find here that are not made elsewhere, I'm sure.
Correct, and most of that stuff we find in Guadalajara. And then we have a gentleman that we get beads from who gets all those out of Mexico City, and so all the beads are from Mexico. We don't import any of the beads.
You don't get any of that Chinese stuff?
No Chinese stuff.
Hey, okay. If you're Chinese and you're listening, I'm sorry. Okay. All right, so where do you sell this? We're over here at the Marsol market.
Marsol market.
And so is it just the Marsol market? You go around? Do you do the tour like everybody else does?
We do the Three Hens and a Rooster market at the Lions Club on Saturdays. So right now we're just doing Friday, Saturdays. We still enjoy our free time, which is less and less these days, but because we do have to spend days at home making jewelry. But we do those two markets now. We've considered doing the marina market. We may do that in the future, but right now we're happy with doing these two.
That keeps you busy and kind of helps you supplement your income.
Yeah, it does, and it's a really fun hobby, and it's a passion. So it doesn't feel like work. It's something we really love doing and enjoy doing, and the two of us, Susie and I together, we make a good team working on them.
Okay, so where do you find glass? Where do you find sea glass around here?
That's what everybody asks. And the thing about the ocean, the sea, is that it changes daily. You can go one day and there'll be lots, and you can go to the next day and there won't be anything. But we've gone all the way from Mazatlan all the way down to Zihuatanejo looking for sea glass. And different colors is the hardest part. You know, there's predominant white glass and green glass and brown glass are predominant colors, but the cobalt blues and different colors are very difficult to find. And when you try to match up a set of earrings and you have to have the same shape and the same color of a piece of glass, it can be mind-bending at times. We have glass spread out all over our dining room table and sorting through them, trying to find two identical pieces, and it takes a lot of time.
All right. I totally can relate to that. Any crazy stories about like walking on the beach from here to Mazatlan?
No crazy stories. We have interesting finds, and we find all kinds of different things, but no real crazy stories.
Okay, you've never been accosted by a seagull or chased down a road by an angry Mexican wanting a part of his glass back? Or?
No, we have a lot of children that see us picking glass up on the beach, and then they'll start helping us. So that's kind of fun. They'll see. They always watch us like, what are these gringos doing? And then they see it, and then they'll start wandering around picking up pieces of glass and giving them to us. So it's really cute when they do it.
That's pretty cool. All right, having lived here for, you said 3 years?
4 years.
4 years now? Tell us your favorite places to eat. Where do you like to have breakfast and lunch and dinner?
Well, I think Freddy Toucan's is our favorite breakfast spot. We love Coco's Kitchen as well. Dinner is all over the board. We love the blue shrimp. We love Joe Jack's, Siam, and Bravos, Michael's, two restaurants. We love those as well. But it's, there's 900 restaurants here, and trying to say I love this one, it's hard. We have our rounds we make with restaurants, but we're always trying new stuff to find new one. I mean, there's just so much.
Yeah. Well, you haven't got stuck in a rut like a lot of people do. They come down and they go to the same restaurant every year. It's like you got to spread your wings a little bit. So good. I've heard the blue shrimp a couple times from some people that I've been interviewing in the last couple of days. So what do you get when you go there?
Well, they're known for their shrimp, of course. They have a giant colossal shrimp, which are amazing. They have a salad bar, which we love, which you don't see here at all. And sometimes we just go there and have their salad bar for dinner. They have a wide variety. They have steaks and tons of different seafood options, and so it's a good, and the environment, right? It's a cool place right on the beach. La Palapa is beautiful as well, and those are going there is like a night out, romantic night out to go to La Palapa, and so it depends on the evening and what we're up to. We love just going to get tacos as well.
A man after my own heart. What suggestion would you give to a first-time visitor coming to Puerto Vallarta?
Don't be afraid to wander around and check out the city and really see it. Don't just stay at the resort and just, because that happens a lot. People just go to the resort and stay there. There's so much to see and so much to do. The people here are amazing. They're wonderful. Spread your wings and get out and see the town.
Okay, excellent. If you now, when you go to Guadalajara, where do you go to get your supplies? What part of what town would you go?
There is a huge jewelry store, and I don't know the name of it, but it's 4 stories tall. It's like the size of a Macy's or something back in the States. And it's case after case after case after case of silver jewelry, gold jewelry. It's mind-bending because you're looking at all these cases, and then they have all beads and all supplies and everything you could possibly want in jewelry they have there. And so that's our main spot we go to. And then there's some stone places where we pick up some stones, some semi-precious stones and things.
Okay. All right, very good. All right. How do they find you? You online? You got like a Facebook page? What do you got going?
We're on Facebook. You can look up Beach Booty Jewelry and you'll find us. And then we're at the 2 markets each week.
All right, excellent. Well, Bill, thanks for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for coming by.
So what's your name?
My name is Mary.
Mary, and what are you doing here at the market?
I volunteer for a group called Friends of Puerto Vallarta Animals. We are a group that is nonprofit, and we support the local municipal pound, known as, the formal acronym is CAM, and it's more known as the Acopio.
Okay, so they actually have a pound.
Yes, they do have a municipal pound.
Do they take good care of the animals at the pound?
Well, I've been doing this volunteer work there for approximately 5 years now, and I will say that the conditions the dogs have today, as opposed to 5 years ago, is 1,000% better. It is actually improved so much, all through donations, through private people, and it's not a bad place today.
All right. Glad to hear that. So, what do you sell here to raise funds?
At the market here, everything here, for the exception of the T-shirts, are donated by people. And so we sell what sort of the nicer pieces, like a lot of the stuff is goes to the animals at the shelter, like the collars and leashes and stuff. It's all used there. But things like, people crocheted this little blanket. We're not going to put it up in the dog shelter, right? So we bring it down here. So everything that's sold on this table, 100% of the money goes back to supporting the dogs at the shelter.
That's wonderful. Let me get a little personal with you. You live here?
I live here 6 months. I do a 6 month thing.
Okay, where do you live? Where do you come from?
I'm from around Kamloops, British Columbia, Canada.
Lovely place.
Yeah.
All right. So when you come here for the 6 months, do you go to the different markets, or are you just at a couple of markets?
I just do Friday market because I volunteer at the shelter on Saturdays. And I find the Friday markets enough. I volunteer Wednesday and Saturday, do the market Friday. So I've got to put my limit somewhere.
Right. You got some time to have some fun while you're down here.
Exactly, yeah.
That's wonderful. What are your favorite restaurants?
Restaurants?
Yep.
Oh, there's so many.
I know, but you gotta whittle it down. Give me your best breakfast, lunch, and dinner place.
Oh, okay. Well, I would say for Mexican food, my favorite is Cafe de Olla. And El Brujo is for nicer dinner. There's so many.
I know.
Well, and another place is Planet Vegetariano, the vegetarian by the church there. I love that place, if you're vegetarian. I can't even. There's so many, honestly.
All right. Well, you did pretty good. I like that. Do you have like a favorite little hole in the wall, like a fonda that you go to?
A hole-in-the-wall restaurant? Or a little... Again, there's quite a few of those. I'm not a big going out at night, sitting in bar type things, no. Okay. So, all
right, that's fine. You've been pretty good so far. You've given me what I need. How do people find out more about your association? You have a webpage, you got a Facebook thing? What do you got?
We have both. We have a webpage as well as a Facebook page. So we have a lot of information on our Facebook page is more active, but there is still a lot of information on our webpage as well. And that's another reason why I decided to do this market, is not so much, yes, I'm raising money for the shelter and to support the shelter, but information. It's a really great venue to get who we are, what we do, and how people can help.
Absolutely. All right, well, I'm going to have all that information in the show notes for this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show, so make sure you look for those. And thanks for what you do. You're pretty cool.
Oh, thank you, and thanks for the interview.
All right, who am I talking with here?
It's Marsha Blondin.
Marsha, thanks for coming on the show.
You came to me, actually.
I know. You're not supposed to tell that. It's a big secret.
Sorry.
It's all right. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I started at Paradise Community Center. 5, 6, 7 years ago now. That's been closed for 4 years. From there, we came here to the big market in the park and to Three Hens and a Rooster, and of course La Cruz and Buceres.
So you do almost the whole circuit, right?
I don't anymore. Now I do this one only.
I see. You want a little time off, huh?
Yes.
Tell me what you do.
I make collars, necklaces from old silk that has belonged to someone, usually gifted to someone, maybe grandpa's tie or a piece of wedding veil. And I make necklaces from that, never new fabric because it has no sole. And earrings that I call mixtos, which is Spanish for conglomerate, which makes sense if you look at them. Hang on. You wear them for a good time, not a long time.
Those are beautiful.
Thank you.
And a good time is right?
That's right. Good time, not a long time.
So, how long have you lived in Puerto Vallarta?
28 years.
That's you've kind of stuck it out pretty long here, haven't you?
Yes.
Do you leave during the summertime, or you stay all year round?
I stay all year round.
Oh, you're one of the really tough ones, aren't you? Look at you.
Yes. And no air conditioning ever. Really.
Well, I'm impressed. I am totally impressed. And I love your jewelry. I have a jewelry background, so for me, I'm always like doing the Busman's holiday thing. So, what are the things that you love the most about Puerto Vallarta?
I love choice. You can spend $1,000 on lunch at the Café des Artistes if you want, or you can go to Farmacia Guadalajara, get a can of tuna and a beer, and go to the beach and be as happy. You can walk down the street smoking a cigar and drinking a beer if you're of a mind, and nobody cares. Just don't try it on the buses. The drinking part's okay, the smoking, no.
Yes, the freedom is very refreshing here, that's
Yes.
for sure. If you had a suggestion for a first-time visitor coming to Puerto Vallarta, what would it be?
Boy, it's been so long since I was a first time. I first came here in 1986. There is so much to do and so much to see. There's nothing not beautiful wherever you turn your head. So I just say keep your eyes and ears open and your mouth shut and learn and enjoy.
Great idea. I love that. Do you have a favorite fonda? Like a little hole in the wall, favorite little restaurant?
No, I don't. I love Coco Tropical. Best food ever. It's been open almost 30 years. And I remember when it opened. I think I was there opening night. And I have never had bad food there ever. Never, ever.
What do you order when you go there?
Pepper steak. It's amazing. Yes, fabulous.
I gotta be there. I gotta go try it. All right. Well, I want to thank you very much. You have like a website. You're on Facebook with your jewelry.
I'm
your
not
creation.
yet. I that's on my to-do list with everything else.
When you do it, you let me know, and I'll link it up in the show notes. In the meantime, I'll have pictures of Marcia's things here and her smiling face. And thanks for joining me on the show. I appreciate it.
Nice to meet you finally, Barry, and you're welcome anytime.
Hello, my friend. What's your name?
My name is George Peña, Jorge, in español.
Okay, thanks for talking with me today.
It's a pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Tell us a little bit about this hotel. How old is it?
It's about 40 years ago.
And how many rooms do you have here?
I have 180 units, 160 two-bedroom and one bedroom, and standard suites.
When what are the rates when you want to stay per night in high season? What are they running now?
Right now we're running for double occupancy 670 pesos, or ocean front studio air condition 1,000 pesos.
So you have some that are air conditioned and some that are not.
Some ones the one on the pool area street side, they are with ceiling fan. The one in front of the air condition and kitchenette.
And kitchenette. Okay, great. All right, very good. You are online here. You have an online presence. You have a página, a page.
Yeah, we have a website, and the name of the website is www.hotelmarsol.net.
Excellent. I'm going to have pictures of your fine hotel. I want to thank you for talking with me today on the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show.
Okay, very nice to meet you too.
All right. Man, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Now I have pictures of all these kind folks that we spoke with, and I've got pictures of what they're selling, contact information and all that jazz, so that when you come to Puerto Vallarta and check out that Marsol Friday market, you are going to have a great time. You'll know where to find all these people, and you will be able to say to them, "Hey, I heard you on the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show." All right. Anyway, that should do it for this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. Stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with travel tips, great restaurant and excursion ideas, and more. But until then, remember, this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and your suggestions about Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something that I should be talking about, reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and send us your message. And remember, if you are considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, you must go to vallartainfo.com, that's JR's website, and reserve your tour right through him, right from his website. Remember, this is a value for value proposition, my friends. His experience and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it through him as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you were going to use someone else, so just do it, really. And when you do take one of those tours, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And don't forget, JR has his maps, his DIY tours, his revitalized happy hour board, his revitalized website, everything and more. I've got links to all those in the show notes and all over my website, so check them out. And once again, if you like this podcast, please take the time and subscribe and give me a good review on iTunes if you would. That way we can get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And remember, I made it easy for you to do just that with each episode I create. But if you haven't been to my website, you can go have a look there. I have links to the places that we talk about, interesting pictures and more, right there in the blog post and in the show notes for each episode of the show that I created. So check them out for sure if you haven't already. All right? All right. Well, thank you to Bill Langford. Thank you, Marcia Blandine. Thank you, Francisco. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Jorge Peña. Thanks to all you folks over at the Marsol Friday Market. Get on out there. Check them out for sure. And thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler signing off with a wish for all of you to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Solo camino eterno por la playa, me encuentro junto al río cuando todo está en calma. Pronto cae la noche, me brillas Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.